Hello watchers. Today we will be reviewing BBC Symphony Orchestra, the entire lineup. I will be covering the differences between the three different versions, Discover, Core and Professional. I will play through the patches and articulations for you a bit and basically describe the situations in which I recommend to get this, how expensive it is, and basically everything that you need to know about the library. I will not cover everything there is to know, because this would probably take an hour and even more. This library is just huge. And I will not be showing the interface, because I'm basically doing this review out of a blind person's perspective, and we usually don't touch the user interface at all. I will be mentioning the sound, I will play through the patches a bit, through the articulations, and I would definitely mention how we blind people can access it. All those information will be covered within this video, and if you're interested, then stay with me. And if you like the content that I'm doing, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and now we shall bring it on. So BBC Symphony Orchestra, in my case Professional, has been my toolkit for building orchestration for the last year. It's basically my sketching toolkit. Whenever I'm not sketching via piano, then I'm basically pulling up a BBC Symphony Orchestra patch and sketching that way. And that is because I really like the sound, and it's been one of the first orchestra libraries that I had, and it's been doing its job really well. So there are three versions, as I already mentioned. BBC Symphony Orchestra starts with the Discover series, which is just 200 megabytes in size. It's basically a really reduced version of the orchestra. It just gives you a few articulations per instrument. It just gives you a limited amount of instruments. It gives you the usual 5 sections. It gives you violins, 1, 2, probably even just one of those. It gives you viola, cello, and basses. It gives you just the usual woodwind setup, like clarinets, flutes, bassoons, and oboes. It gives you the brass lineup, like trumpets, trombones, I think, maybe horns, a tuba, probably. And it gives you the bare minimum of percussion, like a kettle drum, a timpani. It gives you a triangle, a xylophone, basically a harp, probably, and that's already it. And just a few articulations of them, and just one microphone position. And it compresses down the samples quite a bit, so that you basically can work with it. It sounds great, but it's not as powerful as, for example, the BBC Symphony Orchestra Core is. BBC Symphony Orchestra Core, on the other hand, is the standard version of the library. Means that it gives you almost all the patches, all the articulations for every patch, and it gives you 2 microphone positions to choose from. It gives you full uncompressed samples, and it's already about 250, I think, gigabytes in size. So this is something to consider, definitely. The instruments are not 100% available there. BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional has some instruments which are only available within that repertoire, which are not available within Core. For example, all the solo string instruments are not available, and some of the more unusual orchestral instruments that are not necessary for the usual orchestral setup are only available in Professional and not in Core. But I will mention that especially by going through the different sections in BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional. As I said, you only got 2 microphone positions. In Professional, you've got a lot more microphone positions, and if I'm not completely wrong, then BBC Symphony Orchestra Core is quite expensive, with already between $450 and $500 or euros, I think. It's quite expensive. But the real top-notch library product is BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional, which comes at almost a terabyte size and almost $1,000 or euros. And this thing really is huge and comprehensive. It has like 5 or 6 or even more microphone positions for every single instrument. It's a usual all-round orchestra, which means that it's not 100% made for like edge cases. Like if you want the real epicness, the real heavy, intense percussion, then you probably don't take BBC. It's just not made for this. You will probably take other instruments to layer below BBC, which could definitely work. But it's the usual symphony orchestra. And that's what it does. And that's what it does really, really well. It's the BBC Symphony Orchestra, which is great. It's recorded in London, and it's great to have something like this at your fingertips, like in a sample library. It's definitely well recorded. And to show and demonstrate you this, we will definitely go through the sections now. And we will start with the string section. So we will play through every instrument after each other, and that will be doing fine. Okay, let's start with the violins. 1. And we've got legato first. And we've got portamento and slurred legato. Let's play through this a bit. There we go. You can control the dynamic layers with a mod wheel. Let's demonstrate this real quick. No, pull back. Let's see what the other articulations can do. We've got the usual sustained longs. Great for sketching, right? It's polyphonic. These ones. This is obviously consoldino, so we are basically playing muted strings here. We have got flautando strings, which is also pretty great. That's a nice sound there. We have got the usual shorts. We've got spiccato. We have got staccatos. We have got pizzicatos. We have got collinear strings. We have got tremolos. We have got shrills, major seconds. We obviously have three minor seconds. We We've got long soltastos. Which is another one of those articulations, which is really situational, like rotando, but it's awesome. We've got harmonics, obviously. Short harmonics. Bartok pizzicato. We've got long marcato attacks. Which can be kind of useful. We've got tremolo salpont. Tremolo consoldino. Long salpont. Spiccato consoldino. That's all the articulations. And the great thing is, all these strings do have the same articulations. Now that you've heard of the different articulations for the ensemble patches, I won't show you all of them again for all the other patches, because this would probably take a long time. But I will quickly play through the different patches like the articulation and just demonstrate you how they sound. Let's begin with violins 2. Let's switch over to the violas. Now let's check out the cellos. And the final product of the strings family, let's go to the basses. And that's it for the default ensemble patches of the BBC Symphony Orchestra Pro. But we don't have just the ensemble patches. We also got the solo patches, at least in BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional, and only in Professional, not in Core, not in Discover. And don't forget that Discover does only have a few of the articulations, like only 2 or 3 per instrument. But we will, of course, go through the solo instruments real quick as well. So in comparison to all the other sections, the string sections have a dedicated solo instrument for every section. So that means that we have a violin 1 solo, we have a 2 solo, viola, cello, and bass. I will go through all those real quick because they are not that different. They have like 1 or 2 articulations less and put 2 articulations to 1, but they basically look almost the same, like the usual ensemble section patches. So I will just play them real quick. Let's start with the violins 1. And the one thing that has changed is we don't have a long Mercado attack anymore, but we have a Mercado patch. Let's play through Violins 2 really quick through the legato patch, because everything else is almost identical, and to be honest, Violins 1 and 2 almost sound identical, right? "100 points for everyone who recognized this melody." Let's continue to the violas. Next one would be the cello. And the final family member, the basses. Oh, there we go. That's all there is to say about the strings. Let's continue to the second section of the orchestra, especially the BBC Symphony Orchestra, which is the woodwinds. The woodwind section of the BBC Symphony Orchestra is kind of a mixed bag. We have several instruments available as solo and ensemble patches, and we do have several different instruments, like different variations of an instrument, for example a bass flute and a normal flute, and some of them are available within core, some of them are available in professional only, and a few are already available within Discover. So we will go through them and discover them real quick. I will go through one patch and just show you real quick all the articulations there are, because they are quite similar between all the woodwinds instruments, and then we'll quickly just go through all the different patches and play them real quick. Let's play the legato lines first. We do have the sustained longs. We do have triads major seconds. We do have triads minor seconds. We have staccatissimo. Tenutos, which is kind of interesting. Marcados. Long flutters. Multi-tongue, so the velocity decides on which amount of tongues you actually get. Let's continue to the flute ensemble, 3 flutes at once. We also have a piccolo, which is not available in core, I think. It's probably only available in professional, but I'm not entirely sure here. And the final product of the flute family, which is definitely just available in Pro, I think, is the bass flute. Now let's change over to the oboes. We've got an ensemble, of course. Just 3 oboes, but we also do have a solo oboe. We also do have an English horn available to us. Next one would be the 3 bassoons. But, of course, we do have a solo bassoon as well. We also got a contrabassoon. Let's continue to the clarinets. Obviously, the ensemble patch first. 3 clarinets at once. But also the solo clarinet. And the 2 special clarinets. Let's start with the bass clarinet. And that's the contrabass clarinet. And that's been it for the woodwind section. Let's continue to the brass section. We've got several instruments here, but we will start as usual with one of the higher registers. And we will go through all the articulations again. Let's start with the 3 trumpets. Apart from that legato articulation, we also got the longs. Staccatissimo. Marcatos. Un cuivre. Long sforzando. Long flutter. Multitongue. Major secondaries. Minor secondaries. Long muted. Muted staccatissimos. Marcato muted. And there we go. Let's continue playing you the solo trumpet. Let's have the 4 horns playing in unison. But obviously we also got a solo horn. Let's get to the low frequencies of the brass. Tuba, a single tuba. And even lower, the contrabass tuba. A really impressive sound. You've got this in basso. You've got a tenor trombone. These were 3 tenor trombones. Now we've got a single tenor trombone. We've got a pair of bass trombones. And a single contrabass trombone for the last instrument of the brass section. And there we go. Last section that now follows is the percussion section. So for the percussion section, I cannot play you one patch with all the articulations because every instrument is obviously so different that all the instruments do have different articulations. I will quickly play through all the different instruments so that you get an idea of how they sound, but each and every single one of them got different articulations, depending if they can do rolls, if they can do glissandos, crescendos, if they have different type of melodies like hard melodies, soft melodies, all this kind of different stuff. And that's why I would just quickly play through all the different instruments so that I get an idea of it. Let's begin with the Celeste. We do have a Crotallis. got a glockenspiel. We've got a harp. We do the marimba. And a timpani. We've got tubular bells, which are one of my favorites. And they ring out really nice. We've got different kinds of untuned percussion. We've got an anvil. A bass drum. A second bass drum. Cymbals. Military drums. We've got a piatti. We've got a snare drum. We've got a second snare drum. The tum-tum. The tambourine. Tenor drum. Toys. The triangle. And there we go. We have got a vibraphone, which is a tuned percussion again. And the last instrument is a xylophone. And that were all the instruments available in BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional. Some of them are not available within Core, and even more of them are not available within discover, especially if it comes to the articulations. Now to the accessibility. BBC Symphony Orchestra is completely accessible via complete control, all the 3 lines, which means that they are totally accessible to us blind people. All the major available parameters are mapped so that we can control reverb, we can control the mic positions, we can control vibrato speed, like we can control the dynamic layers obviously via mod wheel. We've got expression mapped to a knob. We've got all the relevant information mapped to complete control. That's really, really awesome. Without complete control, however, it's fairly unusable. The interface itself is totally inaccessible. And there are a few Reaper templates, I think, for some of the libraries, like Discover and maybe even Core. I know that I do have a professional track template, but that one is only usable via complete control. Other than that, regarding the overall quality of the library, I found a few samples to be a bit tricky. I found some samples within a few instruments which are not recorded as well. Like they have tails which really covered some background noise within the hall. I found some samples where the instruments are a bit overproducing, like creating some overtones which can kind of be disturbing in a mix. I found a few patches where the reverb seems to be off, but this might actually be a problem with the samples not being loaded properly. But other than that, I found the collection of different instruments to be awesome. I found a few instruments in this library to be my favorites so far. I found the overall mix to be great. So if you like start creating orchestration and saying like, I want to use only BBC Symphony Orchestra, then they really, really blend well together. That's obviously the idea behind it. Like you've got an entire symphony orchestra which is meant to work as a whole. Like all the players know each other and they really, really work well together. And that's definitely what the sample library does. You get a huge amount of flexibility. You get like 6 or 8 microphone positions, which you can mix and match as you like. You get a lot of instruments, a lot of articulations, like 10 to 12 to 15 articulations sometimes. But it's also really, really expensive. Like already the core version with $449, I think, is really expensive. And if you go up to the BBC Symphony Orchestra Professional, which is almost $1,000, like you can get the entire Berlin lineup from Orchestra Tools for that with their bundle. And that's huge. I mean, Berlin is not accessible, but other than that, BBC Symphony Orchestra is an all-in-one package, especially the professional one, but the core version as well, which does its job and it does its job well. If you're searching for an all-in-one orchestra package, I can definitely recommend Core to you. If you are planning to get professional and create music which is over the top and maybe even does some creative things, like want to use it for sound designing where the additional microphone positions can really benefit you, then professional might be the way to go. Also, don't forget that if you are a visually impaired person and are eligible to get into the Able Artist Foundation, then you get 50% off over at Spitfires by visiting the Able Artist Foundation website and applying for a discount. And that's all there is to say within this video. And it's already really, really long and comprehensive. So if you want some deeper details and insights in how the different patches work and how the different patches sound and the various articulations, then let me know and I would probably make a video series out of this. But other than that, this has been the overview of the entire BBC Symphony Orchestra, and it's a really huge library. It's not possible to do this in a really quick and dense overview. It's just not possible. I hope it helped you somewhat in your sample library buying process, like getting an overview over the sample libraries that are on the market and which one you probably want or don't want to get next. If you want to see more sample library reviews, then please, comment down in the comment section below this video. Let me know which sample library I could review. Of course, you're interested in it. And I will see if I've got the library here and if we can do a sample library review about it. Other than that, it was really fun to do this, actually. And I will definitely continue to do those in the future. Maybe even next week. Who knows? Well then, thanks for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, like, you know the drill. Bye bye.